So now we're going to head into some client feedback for the team. So giving our amazing clients that you've seen their headshots on each of their slides, but want to give them a chance to share some feedback on how this process went for them, what it was like to work with the students, and anything else that they'd like to share.
And we'd encourage our clients to turn their videos on as well if you feel so inclined, so people can see you live. Maybe we'll start with the A-Day team. Shannon or Nina, if you'd like to offer any feedback.
Sure. Yeah, that was a great presentation. I think we're really looking forward to taking everything the students have provided us with and working to use that for application to be impact and to become certified that way. I know, as the team had mentioned, as a smaller company, we had all the right things in place. They just weren't formalized. And so that was really helpful for them to help us create formal documents and processes to have in place that further cemented who we are as a company.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. Thank you. I mean, you have done such a wonderful job on all of that, and I've been tracking it very closely, being in communication with Shannon, but she's obviously been your primary point of contact. We're so grateful for all of that work, because I think, like, when you found a company and as a founder and kind of like started from scratch, there's just always so many more things than like there's time. And it's more important, and from the beginning on, it was very important for us to like do the right decisions and like make the right decisions and like choose the right suppliers, make sure our employees are happy, etc. But that didn't necessarily mean that we had the processes in place. So this is like a really great opportunity for us to formalize the things that we've been doing anyways, as you guys have rightly kind of pointed out. So all of your work is so incredibly helpful for us internally, and we're very excited to take that forward and put all of the formalizations in place before actually becoming certified.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nina and Shannon. And I know we've all become fans of your clothing since we learned about it in the beginning of January. And we were so sorry that the team couldn't get the chance to come down to New York City because of the health crisis, but we still have the funds in the account, and hopefully sometime this summer they can take a trip down and visit you in person.
That'd be great.
Hypertherm, Robin, would you like to offer any thoughts?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I was really grateful for the work of the team. It really kind of drove me to dig in where I needed to help complete things, and the work that they did was super valuable. I think that we talked about this as a team during our last meeting, but that one of the big takeaways was that they really learned quickly how to get information from really busy people without coming across as pests. I always call myself a polite pest when I need to get information from people, and I'm not their top priority. And so these students did a great job of asking the questions of the right people, following up, getting back to them, making it easy for them to answer, not just kind of sending a link and saying, here's what I need you to do. They were very good about laying out the questions and making things simple so that people could see it as approachable. And so that was a huge help. And I enjoyed seeing their dynamic as a team and collaborating with each other as well.
That's great. Thanks so much, Robin. It's been great to have such a large and interesting, complex company as part of the clinic. We really love what you guys do. All right, Liz, and anybody from the Kennebunk team would like to invite you to make any comments.
Hey, it's Brad. Great job. Liz's
Hi,
computer
Brad.
literally just froze up. So I wanted to say great job. We really appreciate everything that everybody did. What's really cool about it is it's a very practical approach, very workable. We're bankers. We love spreadsheets. That is an awesome spreadsheet. I think it's got 10 tabs and 20 colors on it. So that's really cool. We like that. But more importantly, the organization that provided us is what we need. And also the suggestions on the environmental piece, where I think we fall down a little bit or a lot, were very helpful. And then I guess lastly, I just wanted to thank the team for continuing to work through everything that's going on with COVID. it's been a crazy time here at the bank over the last 6 to 7 weeks, but I don't think the timing of tonight could have been better in terms of, even in the worst, most difficult times, things that we're going through, we've always got to refocus back on what's really important and what's at your core. So whatever you're dealing with day to day, you still have to go back to your core. And at our core, we really feel that we're a B Corp and we embody that. And we want to continue to make sure we focus on that even at a time like this. So thanks to everybody.
Thank you, Brad. Brad's the CEO at Kennebunk Savings, and we really look forward to continuing our partnership with you and working with you and supporting you as you go through the B Corp certification process over the next few months. Yeah. And then last but no means least, Rick and Joan from Piscataqua, invite you to make some comments.
Thank you. I was very impressed with the team. Their professionalism, the transition from going from being at school to having to do everything remotely was, from my point of view, was very seamless. I would not have known anything was going on in the world. They were always focused on the situation at hand and very professional and timely. Their communications were always well written, well put together. And I appreciate everything that they did, and I think we came with some good takeaways of places that we can improve and giving me some resources to work from.
Thank you, Joan. Does Rick want to say anything?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say something. Thank you. Again, thank you to the team for doing all the things that they've done. One of the things about being a B Corp already for us and being the type of bank that we are through this whole crisis was inspirational in the sense of the things that we pulled out of the drawer and actually helped our community who's going through a lot in this crisis, whether it be your next door neighbor, a restaurant, or a local business, customers who can't work and need the help. We feel like we've stepped up and did what a B Corp should be doing. And we're very proud of that. And we're very proud of the work that the team did for us and allowing us to grow as a B Corporation. So thank you, guys.
No, thank you to both of you for all of your commitment. I've loved learning more about Piscataqua in this process. It's such a cool company, and so proud to have it be part of our community here in New Hampshire. Let me just say before we go into the next piece that I really, having strong company, having clients and mentors that our clients is an integral part of this experience. Without your commitment to being great clients and great mentors, this experience wouldn't be nearly as rich as it is. And as hard as this has been for the students to make this transition in this time of a global health pandemic, I know all of your businesses have been deeply impacted in very different ways. And we so appreciate that, immediately when this hit, you all just said, we're still in, and you were committed to continuing to work with the students and allowing them to complete their work. So I know this was probably one of the hardest times in your company's history for all of you, and we really appreciate the fact that you have stayed committed to this project and have seen it through to the end. So thank you all so much. And thanks for being awesome companies. They are the kinds of companies that we need in the world now more than ever. All right, so we're going to move now into some Q&A from the audience, and Erin's going to help me field some of the questions that we're seeing in our Q&A. Erin, do you want to read maybe one of the first questions?
Yes, let me see here. It's been a lot to toggle between my screen and chats coming in. So one of our earliest questions came in for the Hypertherm team from Susan Kaplan. Susan, it's nice to see your name on here. And her question was, is Hypertherm intending to be an American B Corp or a global B Corp, including all facilities, policies, and practices?
So the answer to that is we don't know yet. We don't have a clear intent at this point, and maybe in a way this is kind of backwards to kind of see where you stand, what your status is in terms of points, and then kind of decide what your intent is. but it kind of wasn't working the other way around to kind of wait for the intent to form about becoming a B corporation and then get the points. And so what I'm hoping is that this will just invigorate and inspire the fact that we are very qualified to be able to seek certification. And we just, because of our complex legal structure, we just really have to iron out all of those legal questions. And so those are two of the legal questions, and then there's many more that we need to iron out. And so this is going to invigorate us to kind of propel those questions forward and get them answered, whereas before we were languishing a bit, as well as acquiring a substantially sized company last year, and that definitely got in the way because of the legal issues with acquisitions and needing to understand how that impacts B certification.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Robin. There's a question here that says, will the same companies continue to work with the B Impact Clinic again next year, or will there be new companies joining? And I guess Erin and I probably should answer that question. Possibly a mix. We have definitely found in doing this clinic that for some companies, 1 semester is not enough. It really depends on the size and complexity of the company, depends on where their starting point is. And so some companies, will benefit from being in the clinic for a second time. A couple of the clients that we worked with last year kind of went away with a bunch of recommendations that needed to be implemented, and then they're hoping to come back into the clinic sort of when they're ready to move forward with certification, to have a team sort of really help them with the documentation process. But we also will be having new clients in the fall and the spring, and we're actively, the applications for that are open, I think, until, I believe, May 30th. Normally we would have them finalized by now, but with this health crisis, we've extended that deadline. But we would love to have conversations with any companies that are interested in either in the certification or recertification process. We're going to be working with at least one company who is, again, like Piscataqua, already certified, but is up for their 3-year renewal of certification. So that's a really great project for a student team to work on. And then we'll be working with some new companies as well. So please reach out to either Erin or myself, and we can happily share some more information with you. Erin, are you seeing other questions that you wanted?
I was seeing in here, let's see, from Jill Howard, just for any team, what surprised you most about the B Impact Assessment and how companies interact with it? So if any of our students want to, jump on and talk about their experience, that would be great.
I can answer this one.
Thank you.
So it's Olivia Sharon. So I think for me, going into it, Fiona and Erin kind of showed us PowerPoint clips of it, and it looked incredibly intimidating. I mean, opening it up the first time, it was like very daunting. But as we slowly worked our way through it and we were just assigned certain questions, it became very intuitive. Almost some of the questions were difficult to understand, but we got through it with looking at the recommendations or examples. But going through it, it was surprising how thorough the assessment is and how much they actually want to know about companies, and what the assessment is comprised of really shows how just sustainable and thoughtful every company is.
That's great. Thank you, Olivia. Anybody else want to add in sort of a different perspective to Olivia's?
Yeah, I can touch on that a little bit too.
Elizabeth.
I know something that we ran into with Hypertherm. We spent a lot of time collaborating with Robin on this, but that the question in and of itself didn't sound, sometimes you would go into it and you would think, okay, this is fairly straightforward enough. And then you realize that there are all these caveats and it is really in depth, and they want to know pretty much down to every single detail, whatever information they can get from the company. So we really utilize, there's a function on the B Impact Assessment that is called a Learn tab, and they have more detailed explanations of what the questions actually are. So we were really surprised just in the aspect of that if something can sound very simple in theory, there are actually so many mechanisms, programs, and personnel in place to actually meet that standard or to achieve that goal within a company. So even just one question could require information or effort from several different people, especially in a company as large as Hypertherm. So it really spoke to the collaborative effort that it takes to establish and maintain these business operations.
That's great. Thank you, Elizabeth. There's a question, and I think we'll make this the last question just in the interest of time. There's a question here from Neil Yanofsky. Neil, so nice to see you on the call. Definitely a blast from the past. And knowing Neil, I'm not surprised that Neil asked this question. He says, for any or all of the teams, as you dug into the details of the B Corp criteria, did you find them to be a good proxy for the overall goals of B Corps? Or were there areas that frustrated you because you felt they weren't a fair reflection of your company's performance or even that they could be gamed? Great question, Neil. I'm wondering if any of the students would like to take on that question.
Yeah,
Harry, you go first. Yeah.
With Piscataqua, it was kind of difficult because the B impact assessment kind of lumps all the banks together. They don't differentiate between a mutual savings bank or a credit union or a bigger bank. And a lot of the questions didn't apply to Piscataqua, which is kind of frustrating.
Yeah, so sort of not understanding that there's very significant material differences between sort of a mutually owned bank and a sort of large mainstream financial institution.
Right.
Yeah, and I know there's been some conversation with some of the community banks, and I know they're going to be hoping to have a conversation with B Lab about that, but yeah, I completely agree. Devin, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say something to the same tune of that, because Kennebunk is also a mutual savings bank, and we were very adamant on explaining what that was at the beginning, because it's so important to their structure and their ability to contribute to the community in the way that they do. Yet B Lab doesn't necessarily really capture that entirely. There's some aspects that you're able to show how much they are invested in their community through the governance structure of their bank, but also at times it's really hard to capture that impact in the questions that are there in the governance section. But at the end of the day, since Kennebunk really is focused on their impact rather than their score, it ended up being okay. But I mean, it would be awesome for them to be able to get those points as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Well, I think we will transition now into our last piece of the program. So normally, if we were all together in Durham, New Hampshire, we'd be having an awesome celebration and networking reception. We'd have food and beverages from some of our wonderful local B Corps. And we would really have a time to network with one another. We're really committed not only to helping support our students to become sort of agents for change in this new economy, but to also supporting the regional business community and helping you become more sustainable in your practices. So unfortunately, we can't have an awesome reception tonight, but we did want to just introduce a couple of key people to say a little bit about the work that they're doing to help build the B Corp community. So first and foremost, I'd love to first introduce our good friend Andy Fife. Andy has been at B Lab pretty much since the beginning, and is our key contact and really our sort of champion. And we're so grateful to you, Andy, for all the support you give, not only our B Impact Clinic, but the B Impact clinics at other universities. So I'd love just to hand over to you for a couple of seconds to say a few words.
Absolutely. So thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you for all the students and the companies for participating in this work. We really appreciate it. And I just want to follow up on, what Brad was saying about the power of community, particularly during these times. And so whether that's the B Corp community or just you all working together, or the small businesses applying for loans, or the people working at the banks day in and day out of processing those loans, it takes a lot of us right now. And so when we first started B Lab, about 13 years ago, we started B Lab and created B Corporation in the middle of the recession. And B Corps had a 65% higher survival rate than an average small, medium-sized business. And so we want to further see that, through this situation that we're all going through right now, and see how that resilience can really happen. And it really does take that community. And so one thing that we released today at B Lab, just one small portion of this work, is at least creating a marketplace for the B Corps that are creating PPE, so protective equipment, and allowing people to actually sort through and see the B Corps that are pivoting to do that. That ranges from companies like Fairwear to Eileen Fisher to Patagonia, Burton Snowboards, etc. And so if you look at our website, we've actually put together a resource page, particularly around COVID-19. And I only bring that up because you'll be seeing a lot of press. I mean, I've never seen so much press in my 10 years at B Lab around this type of work and around the importance for us to be rethinking the purpose of the corporation, and particularly the financial sector and the accountability and transparency that companies are promising. And a lot of people are talking this language. And I think what's really important is that we see this as momentum, that a lot of people are demanding purpose and accountability, but what's most important is that these companies are actually demonstrating practice and not just purpose. And that practice comes from measuring the impact first and foremost. And so this is really the backbone of what you all are doing with these companies and under the leadership of Fiona, and I'm sure many other people who work along your side. But this work does not exist, or is there any credibility of these companies doing this in a demonstrable way unless there's actually performance being quantified. And so I know there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and we are certainly uncertain about our standards being correct. And so particularly around these industries and sectors, and even more so at banks, we need that feedback. So please don't hesitate as we continue to grow as an organization. We call ourselves B Lab because it's an experiment, but we really, really appreciate you all spend time to do this. And if there's any way that we can be a resource, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to take any now. So thank you all.
Great. Thank you, Andy. Thanks to all of you and your whole team at B Lab for the incredible work that you do to help really build this new kind of economy. Moving from sort of global and national to regional, on the next slide, I want to just introduce Kelsa. So Kelsa has been leading as co-chair of the B Local down in Boston, and love just to hand over to you, Kelsa, for a few words on the work you're doing. Let companies on the line know how they can get involved with B Local Boston.
Thank you so much, Fiona. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and say hello to you all. As Fiona said, I'm Kelsa. I'm the co-chair of the Boston B Local Board. We're currently the only B Local Board in New England, so we try to expand our reach throughout the region and collaborate with other groups working throughout New England. And first, I just want to say huge congratulations to the students for the amazing work that you've done this semester throughout all the changes that have happened in the last couple of months. I can really see the quality, just stellarness of the work that you all have done. And it makes me really happy because seeing students both learning about the B Corp impact assessment is so huge, but also really having an impact on companies in the community is really meaningful. And I'm thrilled to have this group of people joining the ranks of folks who really understand the B Corp impact assessment. And I also want to congratulate the companies who participated in the program and the work that you all are doing to have an impact in the world. So thank you for that. Fiona asked me to join to say a little about what we're doing with B Local Boston. Our mission is to build community among B Corps in New England and provide resources, any resources that we can to the community. And of course, that looks different now during the pandemic. And what we're really balancing right now is taking care of our board as humans, all of whom have been impacted professionally and personally by the pandemic. And then also thinking about what can we offer the community. So what we've got on our radar right now is we've upped our newsletter options, which mostly include channeling the information that the B Lab and Andy's team has put together that's been really stellar, as well as providing some local resources as well. So if you have things to contribute to that, we'd love that. Our social media, we're spotlighting local companies who are taking an approach to COVID, stories that are standing out. And so if you'd like to be spotlighted, we'd love that. And we're also rolling out a virtual events plan that isn't solid yet, but I can give a little taste of it, which is we'll probably do some virtual meeting design trainings over the next couple months, as well as some virtual networking events as a chance to connect and make up for the in-person events like the build that we're unfortunately missing in June. And so I'm happy to answer any questions, but I just want to extend an invitation to all the students on the line. If you would like to get involved, chat with me, learn more about the work we're doing, I'd love to do that, and I'm sure Fiona can pass on my contact information. And for all the B Corps on the line, same invitation to reach out through our newsletter and the various places to share resources there, but also feel free to contact me personally and let us know how the board can be supporting you right now. So
That's awesome.
Fiona, that's, yeah.
Thank you, Kelsa. Yeah, thanks so much for building such a vibrant Be Local in Boston and for being so welcoming to people slightly north of Boston and west of Boston. We really appreciate that, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. It's awesome to have you be part of this. And then last but no means least, on the next slide, we'd love to introduce and say thank you to Mascoma Bank. Mascoma is a certified B Corp here in New Hampshire, and they would normally be sponsoring our wonderful food and beverages right now. So just imagine what that would taste like and smell like. But I'd like to just introduce Todd Bachelder from Mascoma Bank. He's the Senior Vice President and the main market manager, and he's going to talk a little bit about some of the community building he's been doing up in the Portland, Maine area for B Corps in that region.
Yes, thanks, Fiona. Thanks for allowing me to join in. It's always inspiring to see these UNH students already starting to bring positive change to the world at these very young ages, and it's always a pleasure to be a part of this B Clinic Impact conference. I wish it was in person, but this was a good second nonetheless. I guess just a couple of quick things. Congratulations to the students on the fine work that they've done, and I wish the seniors all the best of success with the next chapters, whatever they may be. And I think just to quickly talk about what we started to do here in Portland or in Maine with the B Corp community. We started last fall to bring the community together on a regular basis. We were honored to have you, obviously, speaking, Fiona, on the last year's B Corp national get-together out in California and updating us on all that took place there. We had hoped to have had an event in March in Kelsa. We were looking forward to having you join us for that. We're hoping we still may have that event sometime in the not too distant future. So let's keep our fingers crossed there. At this point, we've got about 12 companies in Maine that are either based in Maine or doing business in Maine that are either B Corps or looking seriously at certified B or looking seriously at certification. We're aiming to get together on perhaps a quarterly basis just to share best practices, to talk about ways in which we might collaborate and perhaps jointly educate the market, or perhaps jointly work together to promote the B community in any number of ways. We've not yet obviously become a official B local chapter yet, though that may be in the works in the future, and we're certainly looking forward to working with the Boston B local folks in the meantime and thereafter. I guess just as a final note, to any of the students that are returning to Maine or relocating to Maine, I would encourage you to reach out. We'd love to get you on our mailing list and hopefully get you involved in one of our upcoming events. And to Brad and Liz at Kennebunk Savings, we're looking forward to having you guys join us at our next event or one of our next events. So again, thanks, and I wish everybody all the best and good health going forward.
Thanks so much, Todd, and thanks for all of your support of our work in building this B Impact Clinic. So if you go to the next slide, please, Erin, that would be Great. So just as a reminder, we are accepting company applications for the fall 2020 clinic. It's a great opportunity to work with teams of students. Some of these students will be back in the fall, and we'll have a batch of new students that we've just accepted as well. And I just wanted to note as well, we're really grateful. The Henry David Thoreau Foundation has given us a grant for next academic year to really help us grow the scale and the impact of this program. And so thank you to the Thoreau Foundation for that support, and we really look forward to growing this work over the next year with that support. On the next slide, I just want to say a couple of closing thoughts. Thank you so much to our partners, NHBSR, the New Hampshire Businesses for Social Responsibility, to the College of Liberal Arts, and particularly the Responsible Governance and Sustainable Citizenship Project. Of course, our partners in this clinic are the Paul College of Business and Economics, the Carsey School of Public Policy, and the Sustainability Institute. Again, thank you to our amazing company, clients, and mentors. Again, thanks for being with us through this rather exceptional semester. On the next slide, I want to just say thank you to Erin, my wonderful partner in crime here, for being an amazing faculty mentor, and to Katie and Tori and Devon for being wonderful peer mentors. And then last but no means least, if we go to the next slide, we're going to try and do a little bit of a magic of technology. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for being so patient. Doing a webinar with this many presenters is definitely pushing the limits of Zoom and our capabilities. So thank you for being patient with us as we work through some of those challenges with sound and other issues. But mostly, I want to say in closing, a huge thank you to all of our student teams. Congratulations and thank you. You really have demonstrated, we talk a lot here about graduating thousands of change makers, and you have all demonstrated this semester that you are worthy of that title of a UNH change maker. You have been resilient, and you have been flexible, and you've been dedicated, and you've been hardworking, despite probably the most exceptional semester in higher education probably in the last 50 years. So thank you for sticking with this work and doing such a great job. And thank you for helping sort of build this new economy. We know this is an economy that you all want. It's where you want to work. It's where you want to be a customer. It's where you want to invest your future savings. And I think it's just fantastic that you're taking charge of helping build the economy that you all want to see. We're going to invite all of our students to turn their cameras back on. And I think they've all got something they want to show you in closing as a way to sort of send out our webinar tonight. I hope this is going to work. So we'll put on, if you could put on your view for,
we're going to go in.
Yeah, everyone's thumbnails. You'll hopefully see all of our students, and you'll see some signs that they're holding up. I'm going to actually take a little photograph of these guys. Some cool signs.
So yeah, if you're in gallery view, you'll be able to see us.
So we've got Be the Change, lots of Be the Change. Really cool. So congratulations, students. Thank you, faculty and peer mentors. Thank you, company clients. And just thank you to all of you who are on this webinar tonight. I know we're all zoomed out. We've all got too many things we're doing on Zoom right now, but I really appreciate everybody taking the time to join us, learn more about the students' work and their accomplishments, and learn more about the Be Impact Clinic here. So thanks so much, everyone. And we'll hopefully see you again in person for our showcase in the fall semester in December.
All right.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone. Good job.
Everybody, bye.